Hello, and welcome back to another SHOEBOX how-to video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to review and manage results in a patient's folder. In your patients list, select the patient whose folder you would like to view by clicking on their name. The patient folder provides an overview of all the patient's data you have on record. After otoscopies and tests have been performed on the patient, their results data will show here as well. The patient's otoscopy results can be found here, and directly below that, you can find the event history for the patient, which provides a brief overview of all activities that have been performed on the patient, with date and timestamps for each event. You can also use the comment icon to leave a comment on any event if there are any additional notes you need to provide for any of the patient's events. Additionally, you can write a comment using the text entry bar above. This will add a comment as a separate entry in the patient's history. All of these comments will be included on the patient's report when you download it. The responses from the patient's case history can be found here. With the eye icon enabled, the section will only display questions that have been answered by the patient. If deselected, the patient's case history will display all questions, including the ones that were not answered by the patient. We recommend keeping this filter enabled to keep this section clean and uncluttered. You can also use the expand icon to expand each section to a full screen view, if you want to isolate a certain section of the patient's folder. Using the search bar located here, you can easily and efficiently look up any part of the patient's case history. For example, if you wanted to know the patient's response to cerumen in the ear, typing cerumen in the search bar will locate and highlight the response. Now let's take a look at test results, starting with pure tone audiometry. Just like the case history section, this section can be expanded by clicking on the expand icon. These icons here on the left will allow you to switch between two graphs with a monaural view or one graph with a binaural view. The single graph view is helpful for detecting asymmetries. The pure tone test results section will always display the latest test first, and this is also indicated below, as this test entry will be highlighted. This will also show you the conduction type, pure tone average in dBHL, and the date and time the test was performed. If you hover over a threshold on the graph, you can see all of the details for each threshold, such as the frequency, intensity in dBHL, the amount of masking that was presented, and a timestamp for each. Another useful feature in this section is graph comparison. This will let you compare the results of two tests together, which is useful for things like patient counseling. By clicking Graph Comparison, the results from the older test will be compared on the graph versus the results of the test currently selected. In this example, you can see that there is a significant decrease in hearing ability in the lower frequency when these two tests are compared. Clicking on the bubbles next to each test will change the detailed test data displayed below. The heading displayed here informs you what type of transducer was used for the test, what ear was tested, if the test was aided or unaided, and the PTA threshold. In the text below, the type of tone is listed along with the user that performed the test, and the date and time the test was performed. Below that, there are sections for each frequency that show each level that was presented before a threshold was obtained. This is useful for method traceability and checking for consistency in patient responses. Now let's take a look at speech audiometry. If we click on the collapse icon here, we can return from the expanded view back to the regular collapsed view of the patient folder. We can then click on the expand icon in the speech audiometry section to expand it for a more detailed look. The speech test results can be viewed in both graphical and tabular form. If we switch to tabular form by clicking the table icon located here, we can get a detailed look at all the levels and results. Using the drop-down menu located here, you can search by list to see which one was used. Similar to the pure tone results section, the heading located here will let you know which transducer was used, if the test was monaural or binaural, aided or unaided, and what type of test was performed, in this case, SRT. In this SRT example, the events of the test are listed below, and indicate which words were used, correct or incorrect responses, as well as changes in intensity. Now let's take a look at a discrimination example. In this example, this section shows which words were repeated correctly, which ones were skipped, and which ones were repeated incorrectly. These results can be compared against future tests to check for hearing loss over time, or can be compared to an aided test. Just like with the pure tone results, this is useful for patient counseling. Finally, let's take a look at how to download a copy of the patient's results in PDF format. By clicking on the PDF icon located here in the top left corner of the page, you will open the Patient Report content window. This window will allow you to select the patient folder content that you would like to include or exclude from the report PDF download. For example, let's say we want to include pure tone and speech audiometry test results, but exclude case history. Simply uncheck the box next to the case history to deselect it, and it will be excluded from the report. The drop-down menu, located here, will allow you to select which user will be signing off on the report. Also, take note that I'm re-enabling case history, just to show what it looks like on the report. Finally, click on the download button to download the report. The report will be downloaded to your device in PDF format, and it will include every section that you enabled in the report creation window. In this example, we have the case history, which will only include questions that were answered by the patient, and the results from the pure tone and speech tests in graphical format. At the bottom of the report, the name of the signer specified in the report creation window will be listed, with a line to add a signature. And that summarizes everything you need to know about how to manage a patient's results on the SHOEBOX platform. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, click below to subscribe. For more information and content related to learning about SHOEBOX, follow the links on screen or visit our online knowledge base at help.shoebox.md.